busy old man, doing a lot of conversation, a lot of talk, and dropping these shows today and over the weekend.
Ben, I figured it out. We're live now.
Oh my God!
Yeah, let's see if anybody will join us. We are wicked late.
Should I?
What?
Wow, you're a genius. Should I start sing? Should I sing the songs that I was singing?
Yeah, sing them that I Love You song. Guys, here's what, live streamers, here's what you missed. Ben was giving us a recap on both the DNC and RNC conventions. Ben, what was the DNC convention like?
It comes out of this song. I love you. You love me. We're a happy family. And where's that from, man?
That's from Barney, the kids show. I'm surprised you know that.
I love Barney. Don't say anything bad about Barney, okay? And then the Republican, I just thought Ted Nugent, the only Ted Nugent song I go is Cat Scratch Fever. Wing, wing, wing.
No, you had more. You had more, though. There was a, ooh, ooh.
Oh, yeah, no. Meat, red meat. I want my red meat. Be scared. Be very scared. Be scared of Antifa. Be scared of black people. Be very, very scared of black people. Cat scratch fever. Republicans, such a warm and fuzzy party. Oh, then I had my whole bit about the kids. You know what? Anybody listening right now live? You're just going to have to listen to the podcast, right, D? Huh?
There you go. They can download it where?
Wherever they download. Come on, man. Get wherever you podcast, right, D?
You'll get there. At both Chicago Sun-Times and Chicago Reader websites, and wherever else you download your favorite podcast. Job security, ladies and gentlemen.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm not letting him go to BEZ. Okay?
BEZ's not letting me go to BEZ as well.
When they come looking for him, that's when the bidding war starts. All right, BEZ, you think you're taking him away from me? Negatory. Anyway.
All right, give me my intro. Give me my intro.
Oh, so Heidi Henry will be here. Marie Brio will be here. Ramana Hussein will be here. David Ferris will be here. Alderman Carlos Ramirez Rosa will be here. But before we do any of that, the young man from Alton, the man they call Dr. D, with the news.
Hey, guys, how's it going? Carlos Ramirez Rosa will be available on Monday. So he's not going to really be here, but he's going to be available on Monday. Boy, working with you is just some kind of something.
Sorry, man.
How's it going, everybody? I'm Dennis. All right, let's get down to business for the fourth and final time this week. Let's find out what's happening in Chicago and or Illinois. Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker.
The enemy is you.
Ben, I think he's talking about you.
No. He loves me. Come on. You know JB loves me.
Now, as you know, we here on the Ben Joravksy Show like to give the governor a hard time, all right? Okay, why is this audio keep going off? Take this audio drop, for example.
I'm not a perfect person.
Yeah, we always like to give him a hard time. But we got to admit, J.B. Pritzker's a good guy. I'm sorry, damn near everyone who lives south of I-80, but it's true. You may disagree with a big feller from time to time, but his heart is in the right place. And the following news is proof. Governor J.B. Pritzker announced today a CH-47F Chinook helicopter. I've never heard of that. CH-47F Chinook helicopter, 6 Illinois National Guard soldiers, and the required mission equipment will deploy to California to assist with efforts to contain wildfires in Northern California. The team will be deployed to the Golden State for 14 days. Here's the quote from Pritzker. Quote, "They sent us ventilators when times were tight, so this is the right thing to do. This spring, California Governor Gavin Newsom came to our state's aid by loaning Illinois 100 ventilators in our time of need. And right now, we have an opportunity to return the favor. California first responders are not only battling wildfires, they're doing so in a COVID environment under the threat of severe heat and rolling blackouts. Our team of Illinois National Guard airmen will be coming in to provide additional manpower and equipment to help tackle this disaster. Our airmen are well trained for these types of missions and will be a valuable resource for the Golden State."
Yeah, I share your admiration for J.B. Pritzker. I know that's going to open me up to a lot of ridicule from our many conservative listeners, D, and our many far lefty listeners who probably don't think J.B. Pritzker has gone left enough. But I do think he's a compassionate man, and I do think he has a big heart. And I would like to say that just the way he goes about life is such a contrast to Donald Trump. And, I'm thinking about this, D. You were listening to you talk about the firefighters, the terrible firefighters in California, the forest fires, my bad, in California, and then the hurricane in Louisiana and the damage it's caused. And I recall just the demeanor of Barack Obama when there would be natural catastrophes like this, be reaching out to the states, be reaching out to Republicans in the area. Remember, he met with Chris Christie. I think it was Hurricane Sandy back in 2012. It was a big deal. Fox TV was castigating Chris Christie as a sellout and a traitor for having met with Barack Obama. It's just so symbolically the diametric opposite of Donald Trump, who just heaps contempt on any blue state, no matter what has slammed them or what hit them. He doesn't care about blue states because, as I say, it's all about the Electoral College. He's written off California. He's never going to win California. I don't even know why he's even on the ballot in California. Remember, there was an effort. The California Democrats were talking about kicking him off the ballot because he hadn't released his income tax statements. So I said at the time, Donald Trump, you should let him kick you off the ballot. And that'll just prove how ridiculous our electoral college system is. Anyway, so the amount of hostility Trump shows is directly contrasted with the way Pritzker goes about business and the way Obama goes about business. And I'm really hoping, D, that going high beats going low, even though I have this sinking feeling that low is going to win.
All right. Once again, no public events scheduled for J.B. Pritzker this afternoon. Ben, any idea to what the governor is up to this warm afternoon?
Yeah, he's got this new thing he does, D, where
Really?
He takes power walks along the lakefront, but he moves. Lori, don't worry. He doesn't stop. He doesn't look at the sky or anything. He just keeps walking, and he has headphones on, and he listens to our show. That's what he does. Oh. So right now, I don't know. Is the audio working right now? He's probably going, what's going on? Where's Dr. D? I love when he says, not a doctor. Where is that?
Now, dude, I have no clue if this is working or not, but
that's what
it says doing. We're live. It says we're live, so I don't know. So
who knows? And so he does that, D, and then if we're not working.
That's J.B. Pritzker freaking out.
Where's the show?
Where's Dr. D? So every now and then he goes back and he listens to the Eagles' greatest hits. Right now he's singing "Just Another Tequila Sunrise" as he walks along the. Dude. That's what he's doing, D. You asked me, I told you.
I'm jealous. Sounds like an awesome day.
Yeah, it's kind of hot out though.
Yeah, very hot. JB, if you're power walking out there with the headphones on, make sure you're hydrated. Drink plenty of water.
Drink water.
All right. In other statewide news, President Donald Trump, please hold your ears. You may not want to hear this. According to the Illinois State Board of Elections, more than 1 million Illinois voters have requested vote-by-mail ballots for the November election as voters respond to a statewide push for mail voting amid concerns over COVID-19. The number of requests puts Illinois on pace to substantially exceed the record it set for voting by mail in the 2018 general election, when 430,000 votes were cast by mail, accounting for 9.3% of all ballots. In the 2016 general election, I'm sorry, I'm getting everybody. There's live streamers going, "Where's the show?" Oh wait, yeah, there's no chat. Jay Marie jumped on. Okay, so we're back on, and there's no chat. So I'm gonna figure that out as we go along here. Just hang tight, keep listening. Several hats here on the Ben Joravksy Show.
Wearing a lot of hats. Can we just take a time? Dennis has been doing an admirable job from about 10 minutes to 1. He goes, Ben, the live stream isn't working. And ever since then, the guy I can watch him on my screen. He's like moving stuff around.
All right, I'm gonna figure that out. And I gotta say, boy, we had one hell of a streak with no mess ups on the show. By the way,
I know.
for what it's worth.
I'm keeping track of all these. So 1 million ballots by mail apps this time, 400,000 in 2000.
430,000 votes were cast by mail. That's okay. Accounting for 9.3% of all ballots. In the 2016 general election, 370,000 votes. 6.5% of all ballots were cast by mail. Ben Joravksy, your thoughts?
Well, I'm trying to do the math, and I was not a math. I'm no Dan Biss. I'm trying to figure out.
Who is? Can you juggle?
I'm trying to think of how many people actually voted. Oh, here's a math challenge for all listeners out there. So there were 370,000 vote by mail ballots in 2016. Follow me on this, ladies and gentlemen. And that's 6.5% of all the ballots cast. How many ballots were cast? What is 370,000, 6.5% of? Dan Biss, if you're listening out there, can you get back to us right now?
I'm trying to get the live stream chat, Dan Biss, all right? So when I get that up, please weigh in, you genius.
But, and this is, if the Dems win, this is how they're going to win. Vote by mail. It's easy come, easy go. And it seems to be a theme song of the day. So I encourage everybody to do it. The Dems got to be vigilant. Can't do any of this nice stuff, Dems. You got to make sure you have lawyers absolutely every precinct, every county, because those Republicans play to win. If it means cheating, they're going to cheat. So you have to fight them. All right? You got to have your lawyers ready to go. Why do I have this feeling? Why do I have this feeling that Joe Biden and Kamala Harris are going, let's just get along. No, that can't be. Kamala Harris is tough. She's a former attorney general. Come on, Kamala. Wake Joe up.
Yeah, I was going to say, why do I have the feeling that Joe Biden's still in bed right now? What?
No, he gets up early. You know he's an early riser. He probably goes to bed at 9, but he's probably up at 5, you know. He's not like me. Although, I got up at 5 this morning. I didn't tell you that.
Oh, my God. Are you okay? Everything good? Do we need to talk?
Yeah, well...
Should I just shut the show down? We have a little one-on-one? What's up?
Maybe, can I just cry on your shoulder? No, I got up at 5. I couldn't sleep. Read the newspaper. It was so depressing. Articles about the Republican convention and the wing nuts that are in the Republican Party. And you watch this, folks. I think the live stream was down when I was opening. You watch. They're going to be turning Kyle Rittenhouse, the kid from Antioch who killed 2 people in Kenosha. They're going to be turning him into a hero. You watch. Just a matter of time. That's my prediction. So I'm reading about all this stuff. It's just crazy, absolutely crazy. I guess that's why I couldn't sleep. But then I went back to bed, Dave. That's the good news. I got about an hour, so it's not all bad news, okay? I did get to go back to bed.
You're strange. Okay, let's, anything else you'd like to add about those, the mail-in ballots?
No, that's pretty much it. Yeah, mail them in. Come on, get those lawyers at every place where those ballots are counted. If you don't have your squadron of people in those rooms where the ballots are counted, they're going to steal it from you like they stole it from you in Florida. Al Gore, 2000, you guys rolled over, told Jesse Jackson not to come down and protest, told the unions not to come down and protest. The Republicans were in the streets. And they snatched that from you, Democrats, because you don't want to win. You just want to be nice and get along. So, all right. That's what I have to say about those ballots.
Live streamers, boy, downloaders are probably like, why do you keep talking to these people listening live? Live streamers, listen, Brian the Techie is on it. He's trying to get that live stream chat going for you so you guys can rip Ben and have fun, and we can make fun of Joe Biden and all that stuff. So just hang tight, and we'll try to get that live stream going. All right, on to the news in the city of Chicago. And citizens of Chicago, I have one question for you. Are you ready to gamble? Yeah! Wait, what's that? Oh, you'd rather go to the beach. Well, tough. The beaches are closed. Get over it. We're in a pandemic. That's dangerous. How could you possibly think about going to the beach in late August? You'd be putting people in danger. Besides, the city makes no money by opening up the beaches. You're not helping anyone. But don't worry, because apparently we all have permission to get excited about this news. The city of Chicago is one step closer to having a casino. Give me that thing. Mayor Lori Lightfoot on Thursday took the next step in the push for a Chicago casino, putting out a request for gambling operators and real estate developers to submit plans about how they would build and run what is expected to be a gigantic betting parlor in the city. The request for information from the operators was the expected next step after Springfield lawmakers came through with the changes to the casino tax structure that the mayor wanted the legislation that allowed a gambling hall in the city. So yeah, nothing wrong with that, right? A giant building where everyone gathers close together to give a good majority of their hard-earned money back to the city. A casino, right? We're pumped. Let's see here. The request for information from the operators was the expected next step. We have a quote from Chicago Mayor Lori Lightfoot, quote, "After securing favorable legislation that had eluded us for decades," oh, you like that? "Chicago can finally pursue a once-in-a-generation opportunity to bring a casino to our city, generating hundreds of millions in new gaming revenues to shore up the city's pension obligations and drive up huge levels of infrastructure funding in Illinois, as well as creating thousands of new and much-needed jobs for local residents." So remember, everybody, beaches, bad. Casinos, good. Bad. Good.
Doctor, you've been hanging around me too long. Man, next thing you know, you're going to be talking about TIFs. You said it all, man. You said it absolutely everything that had to be said. Beach is bad, casino's good. Somehow or other, you can't go to. And I thought, I think I saw it all. I think I may have told you this already. When we drove to Michigan and we came back from Michigan. So when I was driving to Michigan, they got casinos there. I went by a casino. The parking lot was filled with cars. Man, gamblers, it's junkies. Give me that slot machine. Then I'm coming back through Chicago on Lakeshore Drive. It was a hot day. No one on the beach. Why? Because the beaches are closed. You got that, D? All right? And you pointed it out. Beaches are bad because you can get the virus on a beach, even though I think that's probably the first place I would go to avoid getting the virus is a beach. But gambling casinos are good. Yeah, D, it makes absolutely no sense. And my position on this. I've talked about this many times. I'm very concerned about gambling. I'm a reformed gambler myself, of sorts. Gambling is a dangerous addiction to get into. You're pretty much guaranteed to lose. It's just suckers throwing their money away. And apparently the city of Chicago has decided that we cannot fund government with a progressive tax, that there would be too much of a revolt against that. So we're going to go to one of the most regressive forms of taxation we can find, and that is a gambling casino. It's just the decision they made. And furthermore, they changed the formula so that the proprietors of the casino will get even more of the money that they soak from you suckers. And that's how we're going to fund our police pensions. I'm a big believer in funding our police pensions. As I pointed out yesterday, I was hoping that the alliance between the Fraternal Order of Police and Donald John Trump would result in federal assistance for our police pension system. I mean, you got to get something for loving the president, Canizera. I just thought, maybe it would help you out with the pensions so we wouldn't have to soak the suckers with a casino to pay for the pensions.
Well, that's a potential tongue twister, huh? Soak the suckers with a casino?
Yeah, who handled it? Who handled it right there?
Way better than the shitty of Chicago you did a couple of weeks back.
Okay. You notice I haven't said that in a while. Now you put it in my head. And I will prove that I can do it. Ready? The city of Chicago. There you go. Soaking the suckers with casinos. Man, that is tough, dude. Say that 10 times. So, yeah, it's apparently this is what comes from a city and a state that's just a progressive.
Don't worry, guys. He'll be back.
I'm not certain that fair tax is going to pass. The odds are against it. Mayor Lori Lightfoot has already made it clear that she doesn't want to implement some of the new progressive taxes that people like Carlos Ramirez Rosa, who will be guesting the show later today, are proposing. So it's soak the suckers with a casino.
Nice. Way to go. You did it like 3 times.
Soak the suckers with a casino in the city of Chicago. Back to you, Dave.
Oh, my goodness. Did you eat breakfast?
Wait.
What?
Forget Dennis at WPZ. Hey, PZ, what about me? Listen, wait.
Yeah, there.
Hold on. Critics.
There are days, then there are days.
With us on the show is Mabel Middle of the Road, who will have it both ways and not take a stand. Welcome to the show, Mabel. Oh, it's great to be here.
Yeah, you cut out like halfway through that. WBEZs, they're not impressed.
Well, see, just my new strategy. If I openly audition for the BEZ job, they'll give it to you just so they won't have to give it to me. There you go. I'm looking out for you. All right.
Well, I know we can take morning shows off of that list. There's no way you'd be able to wake up for a morning show. So.
Don't they have evening shows there? You're right. Man, could you imagine me at 5 a.m? Oh, God damn. And then I'd have to read the newspapers. And, like, if you have a 5 o'clock show, don't you have to, like, have prepared for it by 5 o'clock? You can't just get up and go, I don't know what the hell's going on around here. And they always act like they're so alert at 5 a.m. Well, here we are at 5 a.m. I'm alert. What's the traffic? Yeah, D, I'm not, you're absolutely correct. I'm not made for the morning shift. Maybe the afternoon drive.
All right, and if you can all hear right now, WBEZ is throwing away another resume that Dennis just sent him.
Wait a minute. Here's this. Here's the sound. Here we go. Here's the resume.
There it is. And for those keeping track, that's resume number 6.
Number 6.
Hey, here's a good idea. What about a slot machine on the beach?
No, better yet, put it in a library. Because they have opened the libraries in the city of Chicago, but the beaches are closed. Although, D, I must admit, I'm a bit of a hypocrite here. Okay, true confession time. Although I make fun of Lori for Mayor Lightfoot for closing the beaches and opening the libraries, I've been going to the library. Don't let that get around.
What a nerd.
Stop it. I love libraries. And I go to the library and I put on my mask, everybody, okay? And they got it set up so you can only go one way, and you know what I mean? They got it set up like arrow this way, arrow that way. So they're doing a good job. So thank you for opening the libraries, Mayor Lori Lightfoot. I do appreciate that. In all sincerity, I'm not being facetious or sarcastic.
For once. All right. So there we are, everybody. Your local news there. Boy, what a road we went down on this one. The live stream came back up in the middle of it. I think we have a live stream chat. Kathy just said, no chat. I think it's there. Go check it out. I put a message that says, hey, y'all. Respond back if it's working. If not, okay, on Tuesday we'll do a live chat and I'll figure all this out. So right now I am reaching out to Murray Briel and Heidi Henry, the Heartland Mamas. And while I send that, and we wait for the Heartland Mamas, we need to try to convince all of you listening to download this weekend's Benny J bonus interviews. That's right, every Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, brand new one-on-one interviews with Ben Joravksy and a guest for you to download. And, well, this weekend, more of the same. So let's go over this weekend's lineup. On Saturday, well, we're doing something a little different here. We're going to talk with the Heartland Mamas today. And right after we get done with the Heartland Mamas, we're going to end the show. And then we are going to give you the Romana Rundown as a Saturday bonus interview. Ben, tell everyone what you plan on talking about with Romana.
Well, Romana and I are all fired up to talk about first ladies. This is something on my mind. I went on a mini riff on this on Tuesday. We're going to take the deep dive. Like, what is it with campaigns thinking that the way to win over voters, particularly women voters, is to showcase the first lady? I find that just, it's kind of demeaning to vote. It is. Take kind of out of that sentence. I just find it a demeaning thing. Like, a voter, why would a voter care about the spouse? Like, oh, well, I really like the spouse's haircut, or the way the spouse wears the dress, or the style. Why? Like, But so many Republican strategists were saying that Melania is the key to winning over the women's vote. The Melania is very important. Guys, we all know they don't have a real marriage, not a real relationship. We all know it's some kind of contractual deal. Where Donald Trump, the news reports that came out after the election was that Melania was renegotiating the prenup. She was taking that. She had a little leverage she could use on Donald Trump. I'm not.
Was that Ken Davis?
What's no. I'm not in judgment of it. I'm just saying. But we live in this make-believe world where I believe in fairy gods, princesses, and let's hear what Princess Melania has to say. So, that's one of the things, just one of the things that will be. Oh, and Romana's ready to riff on Nikki Haley. David Ferris will be another one of our guests.
That's going to be on Sunday. By the way, Saturday is when Romana is going to be available by 5 a.m. On Sunday, yes, David Ferris is back. He was here earlier this week giving us a DNC rundown. Sunday, he's going to give us an RNC rundown. Isn't that right, Ben?
Yes. Very good, Dennis. It's like you read my mind, like the song says, if you can read my mind. And so he's going to give us the RNC. He's already sent me a bunch of funny tweets. He's not as pessimistic as I am. He believes that the Dems can win. By the way, if you haven't heard it already, we had Troy LaRaviere on yesterday.
Holy crap. That was a great interview.
It was a great interview. And Troy was on fire. Troy, of course, is the head of the Chicago Principals Association and a big-time Bernie Sanders supporter. And he went on a couple of riffs that were just he went on his explanation of implicit bias and what's going on in Kenosha was fascinating, but also pretty surprisingly strong comments about the need to support Joe Biden.
Hello.
And,
hey, Murray.
Also, Murray Briel is joining us. And so, I urge everybody to check out Troy's, the interview we did with Troy. And then finally on Monday, we have Carlos
my microphone. I don't think so, but I shall check.
Okay, Murray, hang tight. Can you hear me?
Murray, we'll bring you. Murray, we can hear you loud and clear. What a show it's been today. Murray, we can hear you loud and clear. Can you hear us? No, I don't think Murray can hear us.
Why are you being a pain in my mushbuka?
Murray, don't swear. Whatever you do.
Can you hear us? Hey.
Okay, why can't I hear?
Huh.
You can hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
I can't hear you. Okay, working.
Yeah,
there we go.
It's okay, Murray. Oh, Lord. Do we take all this stuff out of the podcast here, or we just keep it in just let everybody know what kind of a crazy Friday it's been?
I'm gonna give her the hand signal here. I will call you back. All right. So I will call you back. We'll see if we can do that. All right. I think she got the hint there. Okay. Boy, this is fun, isn't it?
Yeah.
Wait, are you still there, Ben? Okay.
No, it was so funny when Murray came. I could see her on my screen, and she was like, "What's going on?" And
Ken Davis again?
Then I thought she was gonna just go on a ref of swearing.
Yeah, I know. Me too. Me too.
I was like, Murray, don't swear. Don't swear.
But you were talking about this here. Like, I'm just gonna say it right now. This Troy LaRaviere interview. No offense, other guests we've had. This is the best interview we've had all of 2020. Troy LaRaviere laid it down. He spoke a lot of things on the 2020 election, the vote blue no matter who. He gave a great reason for having cops in school. I just thought it was a fantastic interview from Troy LaRaviere. Everybody, you need to go download that ASAP after this show.
Yeah, his riff. Yeah, there were like 3 or 4 that he went on. The opening bit about what implicit bias and what was going through the cop's mind when he shot Jacob Blake was impressive. But at the end, he said, "I'm going to surprise you." And then he gave a defense of allowing local schools to determine whether they want police in the schools. And you wouldn't think, just based on his larger progressive views, that he would extol this. But he did a very convincing job, very powerful, from the heart. recitation by Troy LaRaviere about police in schools and allowing principals and students and parents to decide for themselves, and talking about some of the things principals have told him. So I urge everybody to check one. I'm really proud of that interview. We dropped it last. We were going to drop it this weekend, but Dennis is like, no, that's too good. Let's drop it right now.
Well, and I sat there and said, hey, download it tonight, everybody. And that'd just be weird. But according to Frank, it didn't post. So, boy, today is some kind of day. All right. So, and Monday, Carlos Ramirez Rosa, the 35th Ward Alderman, Alder Monday. Okay. We got Murray Briel here. Let's see if we can hear her again.
All right. Let's see. Murray? There you are. Can you hear us, Murray?
Yes, indeed. It was on my end. For some reason, my computer decided to change the output to something that I have no idea what it was. So we're good.
All right, here you are. Murray Briel's here. She's one half of the Heartland Mamas. Where's Heidi Henry? She's still on her way. Well, we'll start the conversation with Murray Briel. Murray, just remind everybody once again who the Heartland Mamas are and where they can hear them, where they can hear you, I should say.
Absolutely. Well, the Heartland Mamas are myself, Murray Briel, and Heidi Henry. We both were candidates, myself for a federal race and Heidi for a state race. We got to meet through working together and became friends, and both of us were unsuccessful, but grew very proud and to get to know who we were. And as the campaign ended, we realized there are so many progressive voices out here that don't get to be heard. You know, they talk about flyover country, and the media tends to portray the Midwest as this one giant homogenous blob of red racism. And we wanted to bring that voice, that progressive voice, to the heartland, to the purple areas, to the red areas, to say you're not alone. So that's how we do Heartland Mamas. And we have a weekly cast, Tuesdays and Thursdays at 2:00 on Facebook Live. You can catch all of our other shows anywhere you get your podcasts. And if you like watching silly faces, you can go to YouTube.
And when you say the where that people overlook, where exactly, what's the territory that you and Heidi ran in, so to speak? What are the areas?
Well, we ran in Illinois. So my district was the 16th Congressional District, which goes all the way from Rockford down to Iroquois County, Ford, Stark. It covers like 1,600 miles. It's insane. And Heidi was LaSalle, Bureau, Putnam, Kendall. So west of Chicago, west and north and south is where we are, or at least where we ran. And so as we started talking, we realized so many more folks across the country were in that position. And that's why we said the heartland, the red versus blue, is anywhere you leave those progressive pockets to the folks that are those, quote, suburban women and those in the rural. So.
All right, that's a perfect segue. Heidi, have you joined us as well?
I did. I finally got here.
All right, very good, Heidi. We've been talking to Murray Briel, so now we have both Mamas and the Heartland Mamas. And Heidi, Murray just left me with a perfect segue. One of the themes that Donald Trump has been putting out there for the last several weeks, but it was really hammered home at the Republican convention, is that he is looking out for suburban women, that he will protect them, that he will defend them, that there's hordes of lefties who are endangering them, and they will run to Donald Trump for rescue. Murray Briel, talk about that. Go.
Okay. Let's start with that whole suburban woman thing. It's mind-boggling because they realize there's this demographic out there that they need, and yet they have no idea what that demographic actually is.
Besides old white men.
They have this 1950s version of what the suburban woman is. You know, we've seen these pitches to promote women in being mothers, and we had one of the speeches that talked about why don't we give credit to women and mothers, and and there are some suburban women that this would appeal to. However, the one-dimensionality that they portray all suburban women, I think, is really going to backfire because we're not like one giant blob. And I'll tell you, I'm sorry, I got to tell you about Tuesday. Deep breath here. Tuesday was the day I think I officially lost my mind And it's a really good thing, Ben, that you and I are friends, because I don't know if I could have handled much more after Tuesday. Tuesday was Women's Day, right?
Yeah.
Tuesday was all about the ladies. It was ladies' night at the GOP. And it was a nightmare. We had so many different Barbies and don't give me crap for commenting on their looks. They all had the same look. It was designed that way.
Yes.
And everything was, all right, so I pay attention to the montages too. And the subtlety behind it was talking about peaceful protest, talking about women, talking about quiet works, strength behind men. Oh, thank goodness for men. Thank goodness for Trump. He allowed us. Okay, so then you go into the wrong facts that were given out about women's suffrage and the revisionist history that occurred and I gotta tell you, that night was bonkers.
Heidi, was that your low point too?
I think my low point was Kimberly Guilfoyle the first night. I sustained a false eyelash injury through the television set from her. But I think watching Tiffany Trump that first night totally gaslight. I mean, this is a woman that's had little to no contact with the father who wondered if her breast would be big enough to please him when she was a baby. All of her life. And suddenly she's spewing stuff. And I told Murray, I said, I think what she is doing is what they've promised her. She says this is when Ivanka Jr. and Eric are in prison, she gets to run the Trump empire, right? I think that was why she said what she said. Yeah, because I told you, Murray, her and Barron are the only two that aren't going to prison at this point, you know?
You're right. Well, I was really surprised about Tiffany's speech.
Yes.
I was surprised at her delivery. I was surprised that there was, as much attempt at genuineness as some of the other ones. I mean, gosh, most of the other ones, people were reading like a ton of toms without any emphasis on what they're saying. Like, so to have that level of humanness to it, no, she practiced it. But I was just really surprised by it. That kind of threw me for a loop.
Now, go ahead, Heidi. Go ahead.
Well, but Tiffany's look and I caught flack on my Facebook page for commenting about the Trumplastian look that women have, even Joni Ernst have now when they've been in contact with them. It's a certain length of hair. It's a certain way they're made up. It's the false eyelashes. It's poofiness. It's artificial.
It's the demeanor that they speak. It's the language that they were written, or the language they were encouraged to use in the writing. Very gracious that there was an existence, that they were allowed to have what they have. That was the overreaching theme.
They fit the same mold and they become Stepford wives, right? You remember that movie, Ben, from the 70s, where they just become automatons. They are not individuals anymore. They are like cookie cutter versions of women. And it's hard to see that after you see the DNC, where you see real working women, real women with real opinions. And you also, the other thing I noticed is you didn't see any pantsuits or slacks on the women at the RNC. They all wore skirts and dresses. And I don't know.
Heidi, I got to follow up on something you said. You've been getting flack on Facebook. Talk about the criticism you've been getting because of the comments you're making.
Well, the comments were what I see is this conversion of women. And they're like, why are you attacking how they look? I'm not attacking how they look. I'm saying that it is a conversion of women to a Trump standard, a man who said women have an expiration date at the age of 35. These are how they are meant to look and to please him. And Murray and I even had talked about, did Joni Ernst grow out her hair and put on the false eyelashes to get bigger campaign donations?
Joni Ernst has
Joni Ernst
not
is a
had that
soldier.
look Oh
Yeah,
my goodness.
ever.
She's in a
And now
challenging position. She knows she's got to go all in with him because Teresa Greenfield is coming up and doing an amazing job of generating the excitement. Iowa is very much in play at every level, from the state to the federal. And so she doubled down, and she, you can see it.
And
the way she
converted.
spoke, the look she had,
Trump
it was very
plastic.
obvious. Yes, it was Barbie.
Yeah.
I just wrote down Trump plastic. No, but I think it's interesting that the point you're making. If lefties or well, even liberals or Dems, whatever, criticize the look that Donald Trump is a requirement, if you will, to be a Donald Trump supporter, then they counterattack you with that you're sexist.
Right.
And so they use a Democratic position to undermine you, even though they never care about sexism in the world that they exist in.
And that's just it. Looking at all the montages and the image, the 1950s, hair done up, dressed, skirt tucked. It was such a throwback. And Heidi's so right that everything about this was hypocrisy on display.
Well,
it was maddening to watch.
The Republicans have made it impossible for most households to survive without two incomes. You can't have a Mad Men look anymore for women because we can't afford it. We have to go out and work and do the things that we do to help keep the household going. But yet they're trying to harken back to this simpler time when women knew their place and their place was in the home. That's how it felt to me. And the conversion of the look of these women to become this Trump plastic look, it was offensive on a level that most Republicans, frankly, aren't going to get. And I'm surprised when Democrats don't get it. When women, progressive women don't look at it and go, oh my God, the conversion is complete. So she is now a Stepford wife, so.
Well, but one of the themes that they made in Women's Night, and I think they may have made it another night, but was that Donald Trump, I think Kellyanne Conway pointed this out, and we'll start with Heidi and then get Murray's response to this, that Donald Trump has empowered women. This is the theme.
Is Dennis ready to beep us?
By the way, you feel free to swear. Go ahead. It's a podcast.
Because I just feel Heidi's been really on an F-bomb kick, and
I heard it. I listened Monday.
I know.
Yeah, so I've been much more behaved, and with this topic, I may not end up. So
but I'm so triggered right now.
Me too. Amen, girl. That's why we're taking a break next week.
So,
all right, go ahead.
Yeah. Well, I think watching Kellyanne gaslight about Trump's empowerment of women. Listen, women can never be empowered until we have autonomy over our own bodies. And not just Kellyanne, but the continuation, and this is going outside of the thread that you're talking about, is the bombardment on if you're a good Catholic or a bad Catholic. Let's bring in a priest, let's bring in a nun, let's bring in Lou Holtz. But let's also tell people that if you believe in the autonomy of women, the right to have control over their own bodies, then you're a terrible Catholic like Joe Biden is. And I got on a tangent that will be released later today. If a Catholic tenant is to only have sex to procreate, why does Lou Holtz only have 4 children? There's something to the hypocrisy where they're willing to throw women under the bus, but not men for the same reasons. And for Kellyanne to say that he's liberated women, are you kidding me? It's just like watching the parade of African or Black men and women come through that convention, right? The parade of Black people that talk about the white savior Trump, the women that talk about the hero king of Trump. It's such an indoctrination that I feel sorry for these people with Stockholm syndrome. It's Kellyanne telling us as women how to think and feel, knowing that she's lying through her teeth, and probably why she has so much problems in her own home with her own family. So you can't lie all your life and expect things to go well at home, period.
Murray, your thoughts?
So So yeah, Kellyanne, she was definitely more docile than she usually is when she speaks to the media. All of them had a different vibe than what you're used to. So that was a little bit of like being in Bizarro World. But you mentioned it, and she talked in her speech about how Donald Trump elevated women, and Heidi touched on this. But I want to take this 1950s theme a little farther with everything it was. Like she said, it was, the savior complex, the white savior complex. He elevated women.
The white male
Not
savior.
that women had worked and developed careers and built reputations in order to get to that place, and how he had helped them along the way, which would have been more about, hey, he's really empowered women. But instead it was white man, rich man, Trump has given and deigned to say, women, you can come up the ladder just a little if you show me your titties. Like, it was so smarmy and
Yeah.
It was.
and
It was
deeply
terrible.
offensive as a woman. I mean, honest to God, that's it. In everything they did, there was these subtle things like elevated. They could have used any other phrase, which would have conveyed such a different message to even those suburban women, and they didn't. That just shows how they're indoctrinating, like Heidi said.
And I want to say suburban women is the new code word for white flight.
Yeah.
It's
Well, that's my next question. I'm going to ask you. Start with you, Heidi. People can't see this because we're not broadcasting a video, but Heidi's got a great shirt on that she's wearing. Make a racism wrong again. I love
Yeah.
the shirt. Send me one when you're done. One of the themes, and I've been talking a lot about this in the show, Heidi. One of the themes of the Republican convention that was beamed out is essentially white people be scared, be very scared, and I, Donald Trump, will protect you, which is so bizarre since so much of the turmoil has happened on Donald Trump's watch that suddenly, he's not responsible for it, and he will protect us. Very bizarre mixed message. But you're going around wearing a shirt that says "Make Racism Wrong Again." I wholeheartedly love your shirt, but do you think folks in your neck of the woods support the sentiment on your shirt, or do you think they're being moved by Donald Trump's message?
Well, I infamously wear shirts like this everywhere, and they can say a variety of different things. Murray's been with me when I wear them, and the response is always really positive because most people are thinking it, they're just afraid to say it, and they're afraid they are alone. And especially in these red areas, you get out here and you think because the very aggressive people in my area are the Trump supporters, are the racists, are the bigots, are the QAnon that work for the LaSalle, Illinois Police Department, right? Those are the people they're concerned about. So they see, this 59-year-old woman wearing a shirt like this, and I'll take you out if you want to argue with me, And but I do this to spark conversations. I do this for people to say, hey, I really agree with you. And I have never had one bad incident wearing something like this. So yes, I do believe, because and I go to places where the good old boys hang out, the Farm Supply, the sporting goods store, and with a total come at me bro attitude. But a lot of times I forget what I'm wearing, and somebody will comment on it, and I'll say, yeah, I'm glad to know, we're glad to know we're not alone.
She's put me in an awkward position or two in the middle of Trump country wearing something where I'm like, I think I'm either going to have to box or run. I don't know which way this is going to go. But yeah, we have seen some of that.
But it's always gone well, hasn't it, Murray? It's always gone well. We've never had a problem with it, and we've worn it. I wore a shirt that said "One Issue Voter Defeating Donald Trump" to and from the MAGA rally we attended. It's because people need to know they're not alone in this fight, that there are other people who support the positions of forward thinking. They may not call themselves a progressive, but they know they're not a racist, and they're heartbroken over what they see in their communities.
All right.
So Ben, you asked, if you don't mind, you just asked a really interesting question, and it was, about, is it resonating? With Heidi wearing that shirt, are people out where we are getting afraid of, because is his message of white people are in danger? What's weird is I really picked up the vibe that it was a little less about white people in danger than usual. I mean, there was still that component, but Christians in danger. Christians in danger. Christians in danger. And the white thing in danger out here isn't playing well. Most places it's not playing well. But this whole idea of the of God, Christian God, being under threat is enough to motivate some of these folks. So that was a strategy shift that was good, but bad.
Yeah, no, I got to tell you, so many inconsistencies. You just triggered something there, Murray. So many inconsistencies in the Republican Party. And I don't know if I had this conversation with either one of you. I have a feeling that Heidi and I have this conversation. I have a strong libertarian streak in me where I believe government should just stay out. So that's why I'm very sympathetic to the notion of free expression and for the legalization of marijuana, pretty much drugs across the board. It's just this like, stay out of my life attitude. Very much
kids,
for
get off my lawn.
But when I see Republicans, they talk about liberty when it comes to something like a mask, and then they turn around and they indoctrinate us with this hardcore religious, sanctimonious BS about whether one or two speakers in the Democratic convention dishonored all of Christianity by dropping God from the Pledge of Allegiance. God wasn't even in the Pledge of Allegiance until the 1950s. It's like, where's the libertarians to speak up for people who may not believe in God? You know what I'm saying? Not everybody follows the dictates of the Republican Party. Heidi, go.
No, okay. So Marie and I talked about this the other day. You and I, Ben, are on the same page. Which God? Is there a God? I'm Episcopalian. We know that God comes with a lot of different names and a lot of different philosophies, right? All similar, all good things. But when you talk about Christianity, the reason he'll never make that work is you cannot get Roman Catholics, Episcopalians, Baptists, Seventh-day Adventists, Jehovah's Witnesses, people that go to the Church of God to ever agree on anything. We're all reading the same Bible with different interpretations. And then you add into it the fact that most mainstream Christian religions respect people of different faiths. We, as an Episcopalian, I don't care if you believe in God or not. And that's how God speaks to me. It doesn't mean that's how it speaks to you. And you have a similar ideology with the Methodists and the Presbyterians and the Baptists. And we're not all hellfire and brimstone like he's thinking we are. And he's also demonizing most Roman Catholics, right? So here he's doing is alienating and pushing people further apart. He's pandering to an evangelical base, which if you think about that evangelical base, it's a base that he doesn't participate in. He's got a daughter that's Jewish. He's got sons that I don't think have ever set foot in a church. And so who's he talking to? Because most Christians I know, on my block, there's 9 different denominations that I can think of. We don't all go to the same church. How are we all going to get on board with the Trump plan? So.
Murray, your thoughts?
Ben, you said, it really hit me when you said it sparked, because it sparked it for me too. So, this liberty and freedom BS, and where are the libertarians? And, and I've been thinking about this, but I figured it out through watching this convention. Freedom, all of this equals no regulation for corporations. Freedom, corporations equals freedom, not individual freedom. And they conflate the two, which gives them the opportunity to claim, because everything carried no regulations and all these things that are geared, all the freedom they talked about was geared toward corporations, right? Except for the Second Amendment, you gotta keep your guns. But so all of it's geared toward corporations and not individuals, yet the Republican Party can say they're for freedom, but not individuals. So I think that was a really good pickup. And the other thing with the God is there was so much Christian overtone, and it was...
Which Christian?
Yeah.
Well, no, forget it. You know what?
Yeah.
What about all the other faiths that God is something
The
else? Or
Republicans have carved that out for so long. I mean, there is, I don't know, it's been so carved out down to just Republican God, which is unrecognizable to any other religion, including Christianity. Christians don't understand Republican God. It's not Jesus based. I'm not sure what the hell it's like Scientology. What the hell is that all about? That's what it felt like when I was watching it, because it didn't. And I told Murray, I said, I'm betting 98% of the people that swear that they're Christian, that swear that believe in Trump's ideology, have never read a Bible. They've had somebody tell them what's in it. So how do they know that homophobia is not outlawed in the Bible? How do they know that abortion is not mentioned in the Bible? How do they know that any of this exists? Because they've never read it. They don't know. And you can twist some passages in the Old or New Testament to fit those narratives, but it doesn't mean that that was the intent. For people not only to read the book, but to do the history on it is a lot of work for people who are probably poor students to begin with, like Trump. Just saying.
And Donald Trump clearly, that's the biggest joke of all.
Yeah.
That this Donald Trump, whose career we've all followed, if you're my age, if you were around reading the newspapers in the 80s and the 90s, you know all about the caricature of Donald Trump.
Yep.
And he was not a churchgoer, okay?
No.
There's nothing pious about him. There was nothing religious about him.
He was
a
party.
He was a party man. And a big supporter of abortion.
Yep.
So he has flipped on a dime to launch his political career. And just to watch the sanctimonious stuff is really revolting. All right, now let's talk about some of your favorite, and I have the word favorite in quotes, air quotes, speeches from the Republican Party. We'll start with you, Murray. Is there one speech that really stood out in your mind above all others for, I don't know, it's hypocrisy? What?
I guess I would say the most insane speech for me. Kimberly Guilfoyle was real close.
Yeah.
And I really thought Eric was going to go for it. He was almost there. And Don Jr. Oh, but they didn't quite cross.
They didn't bring it home.
No. You know who did? You know who was wonderful at that was Jim Jordan. He was a QAnon quoting, conspiracy theory spitting, crazy lunatic that you expect from everyone who supports Donald Trump.
Yes.
That was very Jim Jordan, no jacket wearing, Jim ignoring. I mean, it was perfect. That was that was the real Trump presence. That was the real Trump, who Trump is in his organization. And all the other ones were like this gaslighting. So I guess maybe because it was refreshing.
Yeah. Well, that could be.
Heidi, go ahead.
That could be refreshing, Murray, or it could just be crazy at a degree that we can't even go to. I mean, there are so many, and I'm going to lump a bunch of them together because that Trump plastic thing goes into words and speeches and stuff as well. But those that wanted to thank Donald Trump for allowing them to wave guns on the lawn of their home.
The McCluskeys.
The McCluskeys. I was going to go there.
They were great.
You stole my thunder, Heidi. Go ahead, Heidi. I was going to go to the McCluskeys. Yes.
All I keep hoping, and I know the wheels of justice turn slowly, but these people need to lose their law license. They need to have some repercussions for what they did, because nobody was on their lawn. Nobody was harming their people were on a public street, and they're brandishing weapons. And they've got their fingers on the trigger with the intent to shoot to kill, or at least shoot to wound, or at least shoot that gun at people who are protesting. They're not tearing things up. I know that like part of the gate from the gated community was dislodged, but we don't know when that happened exactly, or if it, anyway. That, and then the kid, the smarmy kid that was bothering somebody at a protest rally. My world was turned upside down. Yeah, because I was caught
Oh my God,
red-handed.
talk about a little automaton. How many Quaaludes did they give him before he spoke?
And the
Yeah.
thing is that this is the new face of the Republican Party. This is the person they laud and honor. They look up to these people, and I think looking at them, I see the McCluskeys all groomed and carefully lit in their house with their carefully rehearsed speech. And I think to myself, what were they thinking was going to happen that day that they needed to go out like that? And did they feel that they really needed to go out in a blaze of glory, or at least threaten that, and then come back and say, hey, this is great. We're so grateful to have had this happen. It's just like listening to people whose loved ones were released from being hostages. Every president does that. They usually don't trot it out there for everybody to see, right? It's like, why are we trotting out people who are taking their oath of citizenship? Why are we trotting out people whose loved ones were held captive? Why are we trotting out people whose loved ones were lost? They're still pretty raw. They're going to blame everybody. When you lose somebody to a horrific death, a lot of times you point all the fingers at everybody. It wasn't Obama's fault. Probably wasn't Trump's fault. Stuff happens. We live in a crazy ass world. And, if you're in the wrong place at the wrong time, you're going to get abducted. You're probably going to get killed. And especially if you're a woman, because they had one, somebody who had been helping Syrian refugees. I'm sorry, you're in one of the most unsafe areas of the world and you're a woman. I used to love Anthony Bourdain. I used to love watching him, wishing I could be like that. And I didn't know he was such a tragic figure, but it is not safe for Murray or I to go traveling around the world like that. We know that, so we don't. That's why you don't ever see women hosts doing that. So don't blow that up as if it's Obama's fault. It's just one of those things. It's why women are not safe in this world, and we're becoming less safe in the United States. But Tom Cotton, who comes up with a lot of bravado that tells you that Biden's not going to keep you safe. I'm sorry, the crap that's all going down right now
is on his watch.
And it's leftover racism for electing a half-white president in Barack Obama.
All right, now you mentioned the McCloskeys, the glorification of the McCloskeys.
Yeah.
They turning them to heroes, giving them that prominence when they're right now. By the way, they're lawbreakers, or they've been alleged lawbreakers.
Yeah.
I think the next one, and I would love to hear Murray first, you, and then Heidi, your thoughts on this. I think the next one coming is Kyle Rittenhouse, who's a 17-year-old from Antioch who went up to Kenosha and killed 2 people. And already I'm seeing on the internet people paying homage to him as though he's a hero. And I said this earlier in the show. You probably didn't hear it because our sound wasn't working at that moment, but I believe that's sort of the next frontier for the Republican Party. They're from the McCloskeys, who just waved the guns, to Rittenhouse, who actually shot the guns. That will be the next hero they prop up and promote as a savior. And I predict that Donald Trump will move from this sort of cautious, guarded response, which is no response, to actually, I don't know, maybe sending out a tweet in support of him, or retweeting. Go, Murray.
I think you are 100% right. And take that one step farther. Again, remember, I watched all the montages, and there were at least 5 references in montages to the Wild West. To when Trump had his speech, he brought up all of these figures throughout history that were Wild West pioneers, that were Second Amendment, that they used for Second Amendment, that they were rebels in their own time, which was weird because, you're not supposed to be against things if you're, I don't know, that whole thing was very, but to say that the next wave is going to be these people and that it's going to be Kyle Rittenhouse, I think is 100% right. And there's going to be more Kyle Rittenhouses, many, many more, because they will get glorified. They will, they'll probably get pardoned. Why not? They're not getting the scrutiny that they deserve. Look at the media covering it. 17-year-old boy from Antioch. Now, if that was any other ethnicity, would they be getting that same commentary at 17-year-old boy. Would that be the word they would be using to describe him? No. And we're seeing the rise in white terrorism. We're seeing the rise in white power interest. Wow. But it's terrifying. And I think before November 3rd, things are going to get a lot worse. And I think after November 3rd, things are going to get even worse, no matter what the outcome.
Heidi, your thoughts?
It's really difficult for me to look at Kyle Rittenhouse and not see the very vision of a homegrown terrorist. Taught to shoot and to defend the blue line from indoctrinated since he was a child and since he was born. And I don't know what his mother's involvement in the protest was besides taking him up there. But I worry about parenting at that level and the fact that we're schooling these young, vulnerable, impressionable children to be like this. Murray and I were at the MAGA rally the day, and the one we went to was the very day that the Dayton shooting happened and the El Paso shooting happened. And we heard the rhetoric to fire up the crowd, to go out and kill in this manner. We heard it firsthand. We heard it verbatim. And for us to think, and we've had this ramping up with what happened in Portland, for this 17-year-old homegrown terrorist to think that it's perfectly okay to cross state lines with a gun he's not legal to buy in Illinois or in Wisconsin or have. He's not even allowed to buy the bullets for it. To think that it's okay, his family thinks it's okay for him to go up there and patrol the streets when he has got no interest, no skin in the game. Those are not his businesses. They're not his family businesses. It's not the state he's from. We see that. And we could have seen this in Michigan when the vigilantes stormed the Capitol, right? In Illinois, we don't see this as much as other states do, but you have this going up in Idaho right now. We had another insurgents in the Idaho State Capitol that was lost in this shooting. It was lost in all this other rhetoric. But this is happening, and until we get control of the emotion that drives this bizarre interpretation of the Second Amendment, until we contain it, until we address it. And I'm not talking
start with just having a revision of history that's accurate.
Right.
I think I'm not putting Wild West Annie, Oakley, and Buffalo Bill in your speech for great Americans and Oh Sweet Jesus.
The Wild West was a Hollywood myth. A third of the cowboys were black. Two-thirds were white, and most of them, about 90% of them, couldn't afford to own a gun. I mean, if you're a historian, you know these things, and you know that Marshall Dillon could not have killed as many men as he had and retained his job, right? They checked their guns at the city limits. There's a whole history to the West that's not discussed in the Wild West, because that wouldn't be as much fun. It's like when people come to me and they want to learn to ride a horse and they want to wave their arms around and say, yeah, I'm like, we never do that. That was a movie trick, because watching a good rider is kind of boring because they're absolutely still in the saddle. So it's that same type of myth that permeates everything Trump talks about, everything the Republicans talk about, driving that home as if it was a truth. It's gaslighting. And we are going to have more Kyle Rittenhouses. I think he emboldens other people. I don't know how much Trump is really going to get involved in this. I think we're going to let law enforcement sort this out. Having seen videos of previous speeches given by the law enforcement in the Kenosha area, I think their state's attorney's going to have to step in and take care of this.
Well, it's could come down to a jury trial. Be interesting to see how the defense attorney plays it to the jury.
How do you defend that? How do you defend that? Really?
You put the victims on the trial. That's what they do. They will put. I'm now.
Well, when the chief of police says they deserved it because they broke curfew.
Yeah.
What kind of a trial is a guy going to get?
Man, I'm so glad in the 70s they didn't kill you for breaking curfew, because I was out a lot.
Oh, yeah, Heidi Henry
Usually
back in
Chicago.
the 70s. Woo! By the way, just before we close it down, I just want to tell people, when Heidi made the reference to the Wild West, and she knows a little something about horses. She's a horse trainer, and she's sitting, I can see that I think you're in a barn. There's a bale of hay behind her. And
It's the backdrop. So,
Okay.
If they turn into the Heartland Mamas, this is actually going away because as we go into the election season, it goes to red versus blue. But yeah, Murray doesn't like this backdrop because it's a little too country for her. But there are parts of my farm that look like this.
I expect Eddie Albert to step out anytime, and I know nobody knows. You're all too young to know who Eddie Albert is. All right, Murray Briel, close it by telling folks one more time where they can hear the Heartland Mamas, the real deal. Go ahead.
And who you guys got planned? What you guys have planned on the future episodes too?
All right. Well, we have thank you so much for having us. We appreciate every time we get a chance to talk to you. The Heartland Mamas do Tuesdays and Thursdays at 2:00 p.m. Central Time, live stream on Facebook. We also publish multiple additional casts. You can find old episodes, YouTube, Buzzsprout, anywhere you get a podcast, and at Heartland Mamas, MAMAS.com. And we have a candidate series coming up. So we've been interviewing candidates all across the heartland, Ohio, Iowa, Wisconsin, Illinois, for races. And it's been really interesting. So we have more coming, and then we're going to do a recap, letting folks know, hey, these guys are out there. Give them some attention. If your district's safe, turn your attention over here. So.
All right, very good. Murray and Heidi, thank you very much, and we'll be talking to you real soon, all right?
Thanks so much for having us, guys.
Bye.
That's Murray Briel and Heidi Henry, the Heartland Mamas. Dee, before we head out the door, you got any updates for us?
Yeah, we got a few updates here. Since we had that awkward beginning there in the show with the local news, I figured we'll do a few local stories, and then we'll ride out of here. What do you say?
I think that's a good idea.
All right, so first up, Ben, you're really gonna like this story. Just heads up, you're gonna be one proud host here in a few minutes. All right.
Okay.
The following comes from The Hill. The NBA and the National Basketball Players Association announced a plan today to return to the league's playoffs, as you know, as well as a commitment to convert some arena facilities into in-person voting locations during the 2020 general election. Have you heard this news, Ben?
I just saw the headline before I came on the show, before we did the show, so I haven't had a chance to read the story.
Well, NBPA Executive Director Michelle Roberts and NBA Commissioner Adam Silver said in a joint statement that the league will return to playoff games on Saturday with the understanding that players and the league will focus on a slate of civil and voting rights programs. The leaders said that in every city where the league's franchise controls arena property, team governors will continue to work with local election officials to convert the facility into a voting location for the 2020 general election to allow for a safe in-person voting option for communities vulnerable to COVID.
I love it. And we know what this is all about. And, we've had at least two conversations on this issue, the NBA's insurrection. That's what I'm calling it. We had a great conversation yesterday with Troy and Vincent Normand on Wednesday. Doc Rivers' speech, I can't say it enough. The coach of the LA Clippers was just so moving and so powerful and so inspirational. And those NBA players to stand up and start sort of the rebellion that's been going on in sports. The National Hockey League shut down yesterday. Women's soccer has shut down. Even football. We could get into a whole discussion, Dee, about how football players are in much more precarious situation than any other sport because of their contract, because they don't have guaranteed contract. They're really at the dictates of their owners much more than a basketball player who has long-term contracts. Even football players are starting to speak up. So I love what the NBA is doing. LeBron James, I'm not a fan of the Lakers, and my beloved Bulls are not in it, so I'll probably root for the Clippers and Doc Rivers. But LeBron James is the man, and he's putting it all on the line to let the world know just how sick he is of Donald Trump and Trumpism. So hats off to the players and Silver. The owners at least had enough sense not to oppose them. So That's good news.
It says here the NBA and players also agreed to establish a social justice coalition that is set to include players, coaches, and governors focused on issues like increasing access to voting, promoting civic engagement, and advocating for meaningful police and criminal justice reform. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's great. We'll probably be talking a lot about this next week. And I get Eddie Armstrong is coming on. We'll be talking about this. And Ramona and I will be talking about this also. Brian Urlacher's bizarre statements on Instagram and his support of Kyle Rittenhouse. So sort of the contrast between an old football player and the NBA. But hats off to the NBA. And I want to say one more time, Craig Hodges, you're the man. You started this a long time ago. And LeBron James and Chris Paul and all the other players in the NBA are carrying on with your tradition. Bulls, put Craig Hodges' jersey up at the rafter. Could you do that? Man was a 3-time three-point shooting champion. He was a trailblazer on the issue of just standing up for social justice. I think it would be a nice thing to do. In fact, I think I'm going to write a column about that.
Oh, look at that. There you go.
Coming out. There you go. I think I'm going to write a column about that.
You hear this sound? Your worlds have collided. Politics and NBA. And hey, we gotta get your take on this. The Bulls got the number 4 pick in the draft.
Yes, the Bulls did. Oh, they got my beloved Bulls are terrible. They fired a coach. They got the number 4 pick.
That's pretty good though. 4. They got
4.
number 7 like 3 years in a row.
Number 7. Yeah, they always got 7, and they need a coach, someone who could like bring them together and have them play as a team. But yeah, I'm always trying to be optimistic about my beloved Bulls. You know that.
All right, from news that's fun to news that kind of sucks. The following comes from the Chicago Sun-Times and Jade Yan. That's a new writer at the Sun-Times. Welcome, Jade. When we come to the studio, we hope to meet you. All right. Jade Yan writes here, the Chicago Police Department is preparing for a potential wave of weekend protests in the wake of civil unrest north of the Illinois border, sparked by the Kenosha police shooting of Jacob Blake. We have a quote here from Police Superintendent David Brown. By the way, the countdown for David Brown's job, we're now at 22 days, by the way, for those checking. David Brown says, quote, "We are hoping for peaceful protests, but we are preparing if agitators come in." He continues saying embedded agitators, he called them. Says police claim infiltrated city protests last month in order to attack officers. The department's new critical incident response team, consisting of about 200 officers, will be deployed downtown. We have arrest teams outfitted with helmets and shields. They will enter the crowd to arrest alleged agitators as well. And there's a good chance those bridges will be going right back up. So.
Yeah. Haven't the bridges already been going up? I think the bridges have still been going up.
Really? I thought they were going to stop. I thought they stopped doing that.
Did they? Well, I was out of town. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, this is what Trump is counting on. And I'm going to really deal with the conspiracy theories within me. I think about agitators on all sides. They always go, oh, the lefty agitators. I always love to blame my lefties. What about the right-wing agitators who embed themselves in these protests? Isn't there a possibility that there might be some police agitators as well? A lot of agitation going on. And generally speaking, when there is unrest, it plays into Donald Trump's hand. Just hate to say it, D, but that's my sense of it.
All right, it's a roller coaster here on the Ben Joravksy Show today. We had good news, whoa, and then not so good news. Oh, and now back to good news. The following comes from Capital Facts. Yes, and the one and only Rich Miller. Rich Miller, you're the man. It says here, this is a press release regarding a reoccurring guest on the Ben Joravksy Show, one Representative Chris Welch. State Representative Emmanuel Chris Welch is backing legislation to promote fair contracting opportunities for minority and women-owned businesses in the public and private sector. We have a quote here from Welch. It says, "Far too long, Black-owned businesses, other minority-owned businesses, and women-owned businesses have been shut out of opportunities to provide services to public and private sector institutions. I am fighting to ensure that institutions in government and the private sector are giving businesses owned by African Americans, women, and other minorities a fair shot to provide services to other businesses or to their government."
I'm going to make this prediction right here. Chris Welch has been a guest on the show several times from the western suburbs. Proviso West, I believe, was his high school. I'm going to make a prediction right here, D. He will be the successor to House Speaker Michael Joseph Madigan. I believe he would be the next House Speaker. You heard it here first. Feel free to go to Vegas right now and put the money down.
Wait,
D.
you're going to say he's the next House Speaker?
Yes.
Whoa.
Yep. I'm making that prediction.
Wow.
Going on a limb, but I'm going there. And by the way, feel free to go to Vegas, put the money down. All right, lay your money down.
Well, if you wait a while, you may just be able to go to Chicago, right?
Ching ching, ching ching.
Yeah.
It's good to hear. All the sounds working. We stumbled at the outset of the show, D, but we landed on our feet.
Oh yeah. Remember, everybody, beaches bad, casinos good. Bad. Good.
Yeah. So.
And hey, we
good.
want to remind everybody one more time to go download this weekend's Benny J bonus interviews available at both Chicago Sun-Times and Chicago Reader websites and wherever else you download your favorite podcast at 5 a.m. on Saturday. It's a special Saturday Romano rundown. Ben's going to be talking one-on-one with her right after we jump off here. And, of course, don't worry. I can already hear people getting agitated. That's the word today. We will have Romana's recommendations, all right? So don't worry. On Sunday, it's an RNC in review with David Ferris. Yes, you heard him on Tuesday. Well, he's back. He was talking the DNC on Tuesday. Today, or Sunday, he's going to be talking the RNC, giving us a review. David Ferris, professor and author, and a very funny man, if you ask me. And on Monday, it's Alder Monday with 35th Ward Alderman Carlos Ramirez Rosa. Ben, what are you going to be talking about with Carlos?
Everything. Carlos sent me a text. He said, I'm talking everything. So, it would be Republicans, Democrats, Bernie, Biden, Kenosha. Oh, and we'll do a little Chicago talk. We'll take the deep dive a bit on the resolution. That went down last week about bringing the National Guard to Chicago. And Carlos actually voted for it. We'll get his thoughts on that. So, yeah, everything under the sun with Carlos Ramirez Rosa. Send me a text. Whatever you want to talk about, ask away. So I'm looking forward to that.
All three of those interviews will be available by 5 a.m. on Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. So, hey, cock-a-doodle download those Ben Joravksy bonus interviews. Live chat family. Hey, sorry for the technical difficulties we had there, but we figured it out, and we can now go back. We had a good streak going, Ben, of days with no F-ups on the Ben Joravksy show. But back to square one, I guess, with that, huh?
Yeah, but I thought we managed to land on our feet. So good job to you. You really were wearing many, many hats. I want to thank the Heartland Mamas for coming on and giving us their heartfelt thoughts on the Republican convention, telling it like it is. Heidi Henry, Murray Briel, and of course, thank the man, the myth, the legend, who really earned his keep today. And as Heidi and Murray will tell you back home in Alton, they call him Dr. D. Give yourself a raise, take it out of petty cash. Have a great weekend, everybody.
The enemy is you. Number 6. I'm not a perfect person.
How did you go from sharing stories over the years to deciding to write a book?
Good question, Mayor. Good question.